Stride Deckset Shiranui turns out to be winning more than expected. Hello everyone, and sorry for the wait. I know that it's been a few days since I opened the Luard Stride Deckset, but unfortunately, as I've been kind of telling everyone on social media and my streams, etc., November is the busiest month of the year for me, with a lot of deadlines for all kinds of things, both academia and work and other things related. So unfortunately, I haven't really had time to sit down and open up. As you can see, it's been sitting sealed in plastic on my table this whole time. It was also, for those of you Digimon friends of mine, it was also my good friend East's wedding. So that was another thing that had me, you know, take up a day. But fret not, we are going to open up the regular Stride deck set of Shiranui here today for you guys to enjoy. I know that the Luard Premium one, of course, was the main highlight for a lot of people because, you know, it is the, the premium version. But taking off the plastic, you can see this is what the Shiranui deck set looks like. So you have Shiranui kind of giving you a little high five over here, and then nothing too much on this side. And then this is the actual product specifics on the back. So you see there is the Kojikizumi Dekki. So this is the the 14 new cards, 5 reprints, and everything comes at 1 triple rare. The rest is all common. And then for the strides, you get 1 G unit SP. Sorry, my camera keeps switching focuses, but you get 1 of each G unit in SP. The others are in triple rare. Then you have the short storage box, which is this that you see, and then of course a pack of sleeves, which is very nice actually. I'm quite happy. And then you have the full set list in here too. I think the other side is nothing. It just says the name of it basically. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what is inside. So I quite like the this thing that separates it, that keeps it sealed, because then after you open it, it's just like the full art. And then on the sides you see the little Dragon Empire logo. On the back this is pretty nice. I like this. I'd like this as a playmat actually. That'd be pretty cool. And then Nubatama on the bottom as well. And then this kind of like clean design. This looks like something I would use for my like channel art basically. So this is the Shiranui deck itself. So now if we open it up, just raise the flap, you see here it's pretty nice. We have our pack of sleeves, which looks very good actually. This is much nicer looking than I thought. Is this a black border? No, it's actually not a black border. It's kind of like a very, very dark blue. So I quite like these kind of designs. I usually like dark borders around sleeves, either dark or like complete white. I feel like it adds a lot to the look, but these are pretty good, honestly. I'm not the biggest Shiranui fan per se in terms of design, but you can see even I like adjusted my colors a little bit to fit Shiranui here. Our purple lizard man who high fives you in the middle of the street apparently. So then getting back to it, we have so basically this is like the actual packaging. I think there's nothing else inside basically. How do I take this? There's like a little, there's a whole little section inside that I want to remove it without breaking the box, which is kind of weird. You can kind of see it here. There we go. So there's a little like extra protective thing or whatever it wants to be, but then inside you just get a little storage box. So you can use this to store your decks, which is very nice. So just close it up and put it on the side. There we go. You can see it right here. So now let's actually open up the product and see the cards inside. Some people already in the comments were like, you're gonna regret not buying the premium one after you see what the cards look like. And I believe you. I know there's Daisuke Yuka card in here and all that kind of stuff, but I'm just not the biggest Shiranui or Nubatama fan. I never really was. It's not like it's my least favorite clan or anything, but it's just not particularly a big fan favorite for me. So let's go over the cards one by one and see what we have inside. So first we have the actual Shiranui Oboros. This is the Shiranui from the trial deck that we had in G. So it's the exact same card with even 11k power, as you can see, and it is belonging to the Dragon Empire Nation, but also has the Nubatama clan. So at the beginning of your ride phase, you can choose a card in your opponent's drop, and then your opponent calls that card to one of their rearguard circles, and at the end of that turn, that unit is retired. So that's your basically way to make sure that you can revive something every turn to use that second skill, which is Dominate. So Dominate is a keyword that basically says you take possession of your opponent's units and you attack your opponent with them. So you tell them to stop hitting yourself kind of thing. So when you stride over him, you choose an opponent's rearguard and stand it and dominate it, give it plus 4k for the turn, and attack one of your opponent's other units with it. So that's literally what Dominate is. You take control of your opponent's units and you attack your opponent with them. So this is the exact same card as the original one from G. So if you do own the original, you can use that in standard too. But I did have some people ask in the comments for the Luard one. They were like, oh, can I also use my original strides from G? It's like, no, you can only use this guy from G. This is the only card that is the exact same, like the exact same text. If the name is the same as an old card, for example, from G, that doesn't matter if the text is different. So the only special rule is for the grade 3. So Chronojet, Alter Ego Messiah, Dragheart, Luard, and Shiranui Oboro are the only ones so far. There will be more in the future, I think. So we see here, the rest are all in common. Some people like to just build these decks in common. So they buy 2 deck sets and get rid of the foils and then just build the whole deck in non-foil. So we do get 4 copies of Shiranui, as we should. Very good. Then this is the grade 2 of the ride line. So this is the Genkai. Genkai Nante Nai. Sorry, it was the Build Fighters anniversary recently, so I've been listening to the music from it a lot. But when you ride Shiranui over him, you can call him to Rearguard Circle from Soul. And if you did, you Soul Charge 1, so you don't lose Soul that way. And you choose a unit card from your opponent's drop, and your opponent calls that card to Rearguard Circle. So again, basically, you know, to dominate your opponent's units, they have to have units on board. And what you might have noticed with Shiranui is that he can only use his first skill at the beginning of your ride phase. That means that on turn 3, when you ride into him, you've already missed the beginning of your ride phase timing. You've already ridden. The beginning of the ride phase is, you know, in the turn 3 is when you're still in grade 2 and discarding to ride into the grade 3. So he basically allows you to make sure that if your opponent has an empty board, you can put something on the board to dominate it with Shiranui Stride effect. And then his second skill is when your dominated unit attacks, you can count them off to 1, and for that battle, that attacking unit gets plus 10,000 power. And for that turn, this unit gets boost. So, you know, your opponent can call like a 5k trigger weenie, and then, you know, you can give it plus 4k, but it's only hitting for 9k, that's not hitting anything. So that's where Genkai goes, hey, let me give that thing plus 10k, and then you're basically good. So no longer the Weenie Hut Jr., actually a strong rear guard. Then we have the grade 1 of the ride line, which is the Seizui. So when you ride him over Madoi, you draw 1 and you get the Shiranui Oboro crest. And this is the Madoi, which is the starter that just says when you ride over it, you get a draw for going second, but only if you go second. And let me quickly skip along to the crest here, because I think it'll make more sense if we talk about the crest first, especially for the people that are new to the game or coming back to the game. So this is the Shiranui crest. You can see the little nice red border too. That's actually very pretty. So what a crest is just a card that exists outside of your deck, and you get it by riding the grade 1 as you saw earlier. So you can stride as long as you have this crest, and you can only ride Shiranui like stealth dragon thingy-majig. His like Shiranui Oboro's like whatever, like, you know, descriptive name, grade 3s or higher. And then he says that all of your stealth dragon Shiranui grade 3s, their original power becomes 13k. So as you saw, Oboro has original power 11k, so this turns it into 13 like all other grade 3s in standard. And then during your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Shiranui Vanguard, for each face-up card in your G-Zone, your front row gets plus 5k power. So this is the stacks with every face-up in your G-Zone. So basically it helps you to, you know, just power up into the late game. But keep in mind that this is only your units that gain this power gain. Your opponent's dominated units will not gain it, because even though they are technically your units, but it's like this only applies to your front row. So it's a little bit weird, but they actually write it in brackets here to make sure that you don't mistake it. But the last effect, sorry, the fourth one says during your turn, all of your dominated units and all of your opponent's cards that you've placed by your abilities lose their continuous and auto abilities and gain plus 5,000 power. So unlike in G, where you could use your opponent's effects by dominating those cards, you can no longer do that in standard. So the rulings have become a little bit more simple this way, but you gain the power instead. So what's nice is that, you know, let's say you choose your opponent's, like, I don't know, draw trigger, right? It's only 4k power. You give it the plus 4k from Shiranui Oboro. It's hitting for 8k. So Weenie Hut Jr., you get that plus 5k, 13k, it now hits the Vanguard. So the crest basically makes the whole deck work, and so that's why it's one of the most important cards. I wanted to go over it a little bit earlier. All right, then this is the other, so this is just Stealth Dragon Shiranui. So this one does not count for the crest. It's still a Shiranui, but you cannot ride this guy, you know, due to the crest. Like basically you can kind of see the characters here. So this character and these characters next to Shiranui's name are different, as you can see. So that's the specification. I don't know why they could have just not put this Shiranui in the Stride deck set and we would have been fine, but I guess they just had to specify that for some reason. But basically this Shiranui is a 13k grade 3 that does have Persona Ride actually. And he says GB2 Rearguard Circle, if this turn your dominated unit has attacked, then he gets plus 10k power. And when you would discard him for the cost of Stride, where you have to discard grade 3s to Stride normally, you draw a card. So he's like the Bali of the deck. So we get 1 triple rare copy and 3, only 2. Oh no, I think we get a third in the back. Yeah, we do get 3. So for 4 total of the other Shiranui. Then this card is very good. This is the Sekie. So it's a grade 2, says Rearguard Circle, when your Vanguard attacks, if this turn your dominated unit has attacked, you Soul Blast 1 and stand this unit, and if you have 2 or more face-up cards in the G-Zone, you draw 1 and it gets plus 10k power as well. So it's really cool because you can basically, you know, you attack your opponent with your dominated units, and then you can attack with, let's say, 2 of this guy, and then attack with your Vanguard, Soul Blast 2, stand 2 of him, draw 2, and they both get plus 10k power each. So in that sense, in total, you attack with 2 dominated units, your Vanguard, 2 of this guy and then another 2 times with this guy again, so for 7 total attacks. So that's really, really good. He's a very powerful card, so you definitely want to be running him too. So we get 1 copy of the triple rare and 3 copies of the common. And then this is the other very good card in the deck, which is the Furai. So Furai's effects are pretty simple. So he gets plus 5k for each time that your dominated units have attacked this turn. So if you attack with 2 dominated units this turn, he gets plus 10k. If it's only 1, he gets plus 5. So it's a continuous skill, so it just kind of lasts for that turn. And then his second skill is GB1 when your Vanguard attacks. If this turn your dominated unit has attacked, then you can Soul Blast 1 to stand him. So he does a very similar thing as Sekie, but Sekie gets the card draw and the plus 10k, but only if you have 2 or more face-up G units. But if you don't, then they do the same thing. The thing is that he also kind of like works without Generation Break, whereas Furai does need Generation Break, which means you have to have a face-up G unit. But at the end of the day, you can only dominate units if you stride, so it doesn't really make a big difference. But basically these 2 combined, wow, the common art is also very nice. You see the details a lot better. So, because like the triple rare is a bit darker, I guess. But basically these 2 combined are like your 2 MVPs. There's also Variant Espriel idea, which is like another restanding rearguard you can use in this deck. But basically getting 7 attacks is pretty good. That's what makes this deck quite strong. Then we have the Perfect Guard. So this is the effect Perfect Guards, and we do have 4 copies with 1 triple and 3 of the commons. Then we have the Stride Fodder, so when you would discard this for Stride, it's a grade 1, but it gets plus 2 grade, so it becomes a grade 3 in hand when you would discard it for Stride cost. And in hand, if you have the Shiranui Oboro Crest, you can discard this to search your deck or drop for a, the Shiranui Oboro Dragon Stealth whatever trait, grade 3 and add it to your hand. So basically it searches out your Oboro, that's all you need to know. So again, we got 1 copy of the foil and then 3 of the common. He's also a little chunky this time around. Like they've been feeding him well over the winter hibernation, over the year, just in time for the release. Then we have Zanke. So this one is probably the card in the deck that you might want to replace. So basically he has the same continuous where for each time that your dominated unit's attack is hit this turn, he gets plus 5k. And GB1 once per turn, when your unit's attack hits, you can soul charge 1. So basically whether it's like when your dominated unit's attack hits, that also counts as your attack hitting. So it does count towards this soul charge 1, but keep in mind it is once per turn. And then we have the draw power of the deck, which is Tenge. So when Tenge is placed on the rearguard circle, if you have a Shiranui Oboro Crest, you can count +1 to draw a card. Pretty simple, but good, right? CB1 draw card is always nice. And when your dominated unit's attack hits, you can return him back to hand, which means that you can again reuse him next turn in order to call him and get that extra draw, and then again just bounce him back and just keep on doing that. So pretty good, just don't run a Cannon Blast. Then of course we have 1 triple rare and 3 of the commons. So that now takes us to the triggers. We have the common Dragon Empire over trigger. This is something that I think looks a bit uncanny in a way. Like it's just common, there's no foiling on it, but it also kind of has its own appeal in that sense. Then we have a bunch of stealth triggers. So we have the stealth criticals, stealth 3 draw triggers, stealth 4 fronts, and stealth 4 heals. These are from Festival Collection. And then of course the big highlight is the SP strides, and you can already see the beautiful colors here and the foiling. So the foiling style is the same as the Luard one, like that rainy kind of like foil that you see looks like a little like rain torrent coming down. But you can see of course the beautiful layering of the foiling too. You can see his armor is like a separate layer too, and it's like so beautiful actually. Like you can also see the name is red. That's also very beautiful. I think like this probably stands out the most just to the naked eye, like just seeing the name in red compared to like the Luard one being gold. I think the Messiah ones were silver and the Chronojet one was purple. I personally really like the purple one too, but red is one of my favorite colors, so I really do like this one too. But then we only get 1 SP this time, and we get the rest in triple rare like this, so you can just get a little look at the full art here. So Shiranui Mukuro is this stride. And secondly, your second stride that you go into. So in order to stride him, you have to discard a Shiranui grade 3 from your hand. Sorry, it's the Shiranui type that is the Oboro one. And then you can stride this card from face down in your G-Zone to face up in your Vanguard circle. And he says, act Vanguard circle once per turn, GB2, so you have to have 2 or more face-up cards in your G-Zone, or G-Zone and your Vanguard circle combined. You Soul Blast 1, choose an opponent's rearguard, stand it and dominate it, and attack your opponent's Vanguard with it. And then at the end of that battle, you choose your opponent's Vanguard and dominate it and attack your opponent's rearguard with it. So I think ruling-wise, you can technically dominate a rearguard, swing your opponent's Vanguard with it, and then dominate your Vanguard and swing back at that rearguard too. So it's like, it's just you're causing like a civil war among your opponent's units. But this is also very important in that when you dominate your opponent's Vanguard, you get to drive check for it. So that means that you're going to drive check 3 for this guy because grade 4s have triple drive, but you're also going to get drive check 2 or 3 depending on what your opponent's Vanguard is from dominating your opponent's Vanguard, which is also very big. So just for that, it's pretty huge in being able to, I mean, you get to clear off a unit off your opponent's board. You get to basically drive check 5 times, which means that, you know, your chance of hitting triggers is also pretty high. Only caveat is that you can only really go into this guy from turn like 4 going second, 5 going first onwards. So just for that, of course, it does take some time to get to this guy, and that's why he is so strong. But overall, a great stride and very, very powerful and just very beautiful too. Like the art and all the foiling is super great. And these are the triple rare copies. But then the first stride, this is the one I was looking forward to the most, which is the Daisuke Izuka art Magun Tembu. This really feels like it's like from the Swordsmith Village arc of Demon Slayer to me for some reason. The background, I think, is what makes it. Like you can see like the little like all the temples and the castles in the back. So it's really got that kind of like that sort of village type vibe to it. So again, you can see the rainy foiling and of course the layering. Look at like when I shine the light up here, you can really see the layering of the foiling. So you feel all that you can feel with your hand as texture. So it's really, really good. I really like also the foiling like crosses where he's like slashing with his like little swords. So it looks really cool. It's the original artist, but I feel like they really leveled up the art this time. You also see this little like there's this like whirlwind around him. So in terms of the foiling, you can see the whirlwind a little bit. So if you buy the premium version of this product, you get 4 copies of this and the other Shiranui too. And the whole main deck is triple rare as well outside of the triggers, which is really cool. So his effect is, of course, to stride him, you have to discard cards from your hand equal to grade 3 or greater. So again, you can discard a grade 3, but you can also discard, let's say, 2 grade 2s, a grade 2 and a grade 1, or 3 grade 1s. And then you choose him from face down in your G zone and stride it face up onto your Vanguard circle. And then, you know, you inherit the power and name, nation, etc. from the original grade 3 Vanguard. So his effect though is Vanguard Circle, once per turn, counterblast 1 and flip a unit in your G zone face up. You choose an opponent's rear guard, stand it, dominate it, and then choose one of your opponent's other units and attack it. And at the end of that battle, that dominated unit gets retired. So this is nice in just that the fact that you get an extra attack, right? So you get to dominate a card with a grade 3 Shiranui, and that already gets you an attack, and then you dominate another card with this, that gets you another attack. And you can attack your opponent's Vanguard with this, forcing them to guard it. And so he doesn't give any power on his own, but again, with the crest, you get to give quite a bit of power anyway. So you can attack with the first dominate at a lower number, and then use, for example, the Genkai to give the plus 10k to whatever this dominates in order to get that extra, you know, make sure it hits over defensive trigger kind of effect. So just for that, it's very, very good. And of course, very beautiful too. That's the SP. And then we have the 3 triple rares here as well. And finally, 3 extra copies of Genkai as the grade 2. And so that is it for the Shiranui Stride deck set. So it's a very, very nice product. I'm going to be looking forward to sleeving it up and giving it some test games as well. Still, you know, people are experimenting with different builds. We've had a few tournaments now over the weekend as well, showing us that Shiranui can top and is doing pretty well. I'll also be putting out a video on which of these is the better one to pick up as just a sealed product. So if you don't want to like spend extra money to upgrade them, you want to just like play with your friends, then which one you should be buying between this and Luard. And then I'll also be talking about which cards you want to pick up for upgrades for these 2 decks as well, which I think will be very useful in terms of preparing for this product launch in February, which will be the English release date. Otherwise, that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a like, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe. And if you want some bonus content, such as first-person POV fights, you can become a YouTube channel member to get access to that as well. And of course, support the channel greatly. But with that, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.